Today's top picks from Reuters Breakingviews. The big three media M&A deals of 2012, will they be good news or bad in 2013? And why the euro in practice needs a stronger theory. With me now to discuss these stories is Reuters Breakingviews assistant editor Robert Cole.
Hiya.
Morning, Robert. OK, let's start with these media M&A deals. For example, the Penguin Random House one. Good news maybe for the shareholders, bad news for the arts, yeah?
Well, yeah, I think so. That's...
Well, that too simplistic?
Well, I think it is a bit simplistic. I mean, I know what you're saying, and the straight answer to that is yes. But I think you've got to also accept that, you know, at the end of the day, these media, particularly the ones we're mentioning in this piece, these media companies are dependent on the artists. So if it's bad for the artists, ultimately it's going to be bad for the shareholders as well. Now, the shareholders might like it in the short term, but in the longer term is a different thing. And, you know, you might be asking, why are we writing about this? These deals have been done. Mm-hmm. But we're also trying to put the spotlight, particularly in the context of, you know, what M&A might be done in future, is that, you know, actually the easy bit of M&A is getting the deals done. So the easy bit in all these three deals has been to pull, and now that's not easy, but, you know, it's easier than making them work. And what we're trying to do is put the spotlight here on how difficult it's going to be for these deals to actually produce some value. Because clearly, I mean, the artists have an interest in being part of commercial enterprises which are sustainable and profitable. That keeps everybody happy. Then, if you know, there's no profit there, there's no sustainability. You know, they won't have a platform on which to draw. But at the same time, I think there's a really quite big risk that those economic imperatives will stifle at least some of the artistic talent. And the way, you know, the shorthand way of explaining this is that we know how much, I think we've proved how much that film production houses, for example, or book publishers love a format, love Harry Potter or James Bond or a series of books, and that's all well and good. That's fine. Not trying to criticise those things, but those kind of things can push out
the next
big thing. And of course, if you push that out, then there's nothing to come in to be the next generation of formats.
So can we expect more of these similar types of deals to take place in 2013 or not?
Well, I think in media, it strikes me that, you know, we've got a lot of quite big deals being done, and it's difficult to see, you know, really mega ones sort of being put together. But, you know, I think there is quite a lot of pressure to try and squeeze out a bit more profitability, a bit more economic sustainability. So if not in media, then across the board, I think there's going to be quite a lot of pressure to do these deals. But I think the bar has just got so much higher. You know, shareholders, you know, who used to just roll over with whatever management plan
not anymore.
Not anymore. I don't think we should sort of try and draw them as these sort of valiant champions of right thinking. I think they can still be pretty supine at times, but I think managements have a harder job convincing people that not only getting their sort of signatures on the dotted line for the deal to be done, but making sure that they can drive through value. And as next year, as I hope, you know, things will get better, perhaps there'll be a bit more M&A, but it'll be harder to get through.
OK, and on to the issue of single currency blocks. I mean, of course, the obvious one is the euro. And sometimes it's not just about economics, is it? I mean, sometimes there are more powerful overriding factors.
Yeah, this is written in response to some now news about an economist who died just before Christmas, who was one of the, if you like, the architects or one of the thinkers of the euro, and it really addressing not necessarily this man's work, but more, you know, how we've changed in our thinking about euro, or how we have to change in our thinking about currency areas, and for very good reasons. You know, it used to the debate used to be all about the economics. Is the single currency good for business? Is it good for, you know, productivity? Is it good for the way we trade with one another? And, you know, people who profess not to like the euro, for example, or not single currency, so it's hurting us economically, and those who had the other side would say it's benefiting us economically. And all that's really important, you know, and if that gets too far out of line, then these things can fall away. But I think the new thinking, or the next generation of thinking that we're saying ought to be coming in here, is that, you know, yes, the economics is important, but the politics and the wider picture is important. And the very sort of simple and straightforward, almost glib way of saying that is that it's not just about money; it's about not killing each other as well. And
which is a good thing, certainly.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And just to finish up on this, I interviewed Robert Mundell many years ago, and he said he could see a time when there were only 3 currencies in the world: a dollar for the Americas, euro for Europe, and an Asian currency. Is that something that we can envisage?
Whether I'll be alive to see it, I don't know. But yes, I think that there's a dollar, there's a euro, what I'd call the brick block. A brick instead of a dollar, which might encompass all the rest of, yes, Asia, but also emerging Africa, perhaps even South America as well. I think, one of the steps towards that is that actually, the next thing we might see is a South American currency, perhaps an African currency, perhaps an Asian currency, or a Chinese-based Asian currency. But yeah, no, I think that's a very, it's a bright sort of future to look forward to. One shouldn't underestimate all the challenges, and one should not try and rush it, And if it did take 100 years, I'd be very happy.
Robert, thank you very much. That's all for now, and that was, of course, Robert Cole. For more agenda-setting financial insight, do watch our US Breaking Views show every day at 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 GMT. I'm Jamie McGeever. This is Reuters.